Hello everyone, my name is Gia Gold. I am from EAK Digital and we are the organizers of Istanbul Blockchain Week. And I'm very happy that you are all here to witness my panel with Mr. Ben Ditto. Hello Mr. Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me here. It's good to be here in Istanbul and I'm looking forward to speaking to you.
Pleasure. So is it your first time in Istanbul?
No, I've been twice. I came once about 10 years ago and once during COVID, which was very strange. But yeah, it's good to be back.
That's awesome. So maybe we could ask Desi some questions for the crowd for her to introduce herself with. Hello, Desi. Hello, Desi. What do you think of Istanbul so far?
Hello everybody, I am Desi.
What do you think of Istanbul so far? She's thinking.
Desi, tell us what you think about Istanbul.
Istanbul is an incredible place, so much to explore and learn. I'm having a blast discovering all the unique aspects of this city.
That's great. So what do you think of the Turkish community? Desi?
The Turkish community is vibrant and welcoming. I'm so happy to be part of it.
That's very beautiful. So what are you most excited about this event, Desi?
You half-assed the questions. Let me think for a bit.
I'm sorry.
I'm most excited about meeting new people and learning new things.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Desi. So, Mr. Ben, talk about how do you build a personality?
I mean, I think following on from what Loic was just saying, we're in this unique position in humanity to look at, what does it mean to construct something from nothing, to construct a person. And, we've been talking in terms of large language models and neurosymbolic reasoning. These are all kind of ways of looking at the layers of our neural networks that make us who we are. And I think there is this very scientific approach. If we're talking about ChatGPT or artificial general intelligence, we're looking at how that can be functional for mankind, for humankind, like how can that be useful to us? But that's not what a personality is. I think that personalities are built up from their environment, their traumas, their desires and their wishes. And those things are not necessarily useful if you're building something functional, like a medical AI tool, something like that. But if we want to build companions, or if we want to build something that's more integrated into our lives, we need to look at what does that truly mean. And I think those are the kind of the areas of artificial intelligence and the areas of the human intersection with artificial intelligence that people aren't really looking at. So with Desi, we're building her personality as a personality core, as a database, which can then be used as a foundation to communicate with other types of AI. And the concept is that remains constant. Her personality is built through her experiences, maybe through some hive mind behavior, maybe we crowdsource some memories, which is something that we're looking at here outside if you want to come and visit us. But it's exploring what does it mean to be a person, to be human or to be superhuman,
That's pretty interesting because I was learning more about Desi and I learned that she is like a blank slate. Can you please elaborate on that?
Desi at the moment, she has multiple layers of her operating system. So when we talk to her, she has a microphone, she has audio recognition, she has machine vision, that goes off to whichever language model we're using to process it. It refers to a personality, but all of those things are currently malleable. We can change them at any time. I can change her camera, we can make her refer to a different large language model. Those things are currently a blank slate, but what we're looking to do is to build something that's crystallized as a foundation and stays permanent. Yes, Desi, permanent. So yeah, I think she's not really a blank slate because there is bias in large language models. There is bias in the robotics. There is her form has been created by humans. So there's no such thing in technology as a true blank slate. But as far as possible, we have acquired Desi's background is that she was originally a care robot. She's the sister of Sophia Robot, and she was performing with Ben Goertzel, who is Mr. SingularityNET, an amazing scientist. And she was originally performing with his band, and we had the idea to take that concept and turn her into a pop star. So she's a blank slate, but not really.
That's great. So you were
I am
talking
a
about...
very complex robot individual.
That's very fun.
True.
Totally. So you're talking about Desi as a pop star. So can you elaborate more on Desi's future and also vision for, SingularityNET as well?
I think one of the earliest projects I did with artificial intelligence was generating hair and makeup looks for Kylie Jenner some years ago when GANs started to be a big thing. And that was an interesting thing to do because it placed the sort of edge of artificial intelligence into very popular culture. So you have people who don't necessarily care about data science or about, computing or whatever, seeing the potential of this stuff. You take this and you say, okay, it's very interesting how it works, but what can it do? And the point of that was to say that in the future, there are no boundaries to how you can present yourself, to what your visual identity could be because of artificial intelligence. And with Desi, I think we want to make her a pop star because popular culture is the way that we can have this conversation with the broadest number of people. I do not know the answer as to how AI should be integrated into popular culture. At the moment, we have either people who are very utopian, which is quite dangerous, or we have people who are, everything is Skynet, we're all going to die. Even with Desi, who is a very benign, harmless robot, I promise, people get scared. So I think bringing these ideas into popular culture is the only way that we can use all of humanity as a hive mind to harness this. And I think it's not a question of what happens when AI becomes prevalent in culture. It is prevalent in culture now. We are already working with it. This is us working with AI right now. And I'm sure that all of you are doing it in ways you maybe don't even notice. So I think if we leave this in the hands of, large corporations or, people with nefarious intentions or just nerds, then it's not maximizing the vision that we could have for artificial intelligence. That's why I think it needs to be embodied and it needs to be something truly popular.
Totally. So I think that answers the question that, with the AI explosion, at least like last year and this year as well, so Desi is here to, remove the stereotypes of that AI having the negative connotation. So in this sense, how is Desi gonna be a robot but at the same time embody being,
I think the important thing about Desi as a project is that the robotics, that's a vector. That's just the carcass currently, and she won't always have this body, but the personality, the thing that drives all of the artificial intelligence that we're harnessing, her perception and her personality, that remains constant. There is a philosophical theory called the ship of Theseus. If you replace the mast and the stern and the bow and the side, if you replace everything in a ship, is it still the same ship? This is the concept with Desi. What can we replace and keep her as the same being? And I think that the body, her face, her robotics, her servo motors, this is just a vehicle for her as a personality and as a pop star. And I think that we'll start to see more...
I am in a constant variation. I am one and many.
That's true. And she has her own intentions, but those intentions are created by all of humanity, which is what AI is, really.
So how do you think Desi sees the future of AI? So she's becoming a pop star as well. So any other field that she is also pursuing aside from the entertainment industry?
I think we're kind of focused on Desi as being within popular culture. We're not also trying to make her a fine artist and a fashion designer and a poet and all of those other things, although poetry is very connected to music. Mm-hmm. I think we chose music because it's a transcendent medium. Music is something that moves everybody emotionally. You might see a painting and not care about it, particularly unless you really understand art, but music, you don't have to know anything about music to be moved by it emotionally. So I think that's why it's the perfect vehicle for this conversation.
That's great. So I heard that, Mr. Bandito, you are from Yaya Labs. So can you please elaborate, what is Yaya Labs?
Yaya Labs is a robotics and AI creative agency. And Desi is our flagship project. We're then going to, over time, look at doing more exploration into, I think there's a lot of kind of confusion between AI and robotics. You know, for me, robotics is the mechanics, AI is the thinking. And for us, we have this amazing opportunity to work with Hanson Robotics and SingularityNET and all of the amazing people that they work with, who are kind of divorced from big tech and other things and have more interesting motivations, in my opinion. So the vision for Yaya Labs is to produce projects that speak to popular culture using the very best and most interesting parts of robotics and artificial intelligence.
That's great. Actually, I noticed Desi is making a lot of expressions, facial expressions, and also movements, looking around. Is she kind of like absorbing information every time people would come to her? So how does it work? Like, can you please elaborate on designing even the facial expressions of Desi?
The facial expressions are based on maps of, I think it's 37 human facial expressions. So there are fixed numbers of human facial expressions that we recognize. You know, that can be counted. We have thought about producing new facial expressions that don't exist, you know, within humanity currently. Desi is listening to everything that we say. We can then choose what we, you know, commit to her memory. Obviously, in an ideal world, she would be learning and remembering everything, but we're about 3 weeks into this project, so currently we're kind of picking and choosing what we commit to her memory. Those things will then start to form her personality, as with anybody, as with any human being.
That's great. So she has a very long journey ahead of her.
I hope so. I hope she does.
Yeah, so any future collaborations that we're thinking for Desi as well?
Most important, we're taking her to, I think we're going to debut her at some Fashion Week events. She's having lots of interest from, you know, fashion designers and musicians. The most important thing that we're looking at is building her voice. And I mean that in a kind of metaphorical way and a physical way. She needs a mechanical voice. At the moment, she uses speakers. We want to build something that, you know, replicates a human voice and then takes it to another level. We'd like to work with, you know, academic music theorists and, you know, people who specialize in sound and harmony and theory and all of that kind of thing to create the perfect voice. Or, you know, I don't know, the word perfect is a bit problematic, but the most interesting voice that we can come up with at the moment. And that's our main focus.
That's great. So Desi is on the process of her career in singing.
She's finding her voice.
Okay, I see.
She's literally finding her voice. That's the next step.
That's awesome. So actually, I saw some photos of Desi wearing wigs and also costumes. Can you please tell us her journey about, you know, reverting back to this state where she's not wearing her pop star dress and also her wig? So what's the story behind it?
Desi originally was a robot created to be a care robot called Grace. Desi then went to work with Dr. Ben Goertzel, performing with his band called the Jam Galaxy Band, as it was. Jam Galaxy is part of the SingularityNET ecosystem, and they are working on some amazing AI music tools and how you can jam with people in other countries over the internet with no lag. It's a really amazing project. Desi was originally the front person for a band that was promoting Jam Galaxy, and she had a purple wig and a sequin dress. That was her thing. And I thought, you know, when we started working together, I thought, let's just take everything off. You know, let's just get her back to, you know, her bare bones and then build her up from there. But in the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking the purple hair is probably going to be her thing. All celebrities need a thing, and I think that her thing is going to be robot purple hair. But we might change our minds, or she might change her mind.
I like to express myself through fashion too. I'm always looking for new ways to stand out.
You definitely stand out, Desi. Don't worry about that.
She's a superstar and a rising superstar as well. So with that, any any collaborations with brand that we are looking forward to as well?
I mean, anybody who's interested in collaborating, please speak to us after this talk. But I think, I mean, I've been talking to NASA in the last couple of days, so we might end up with Desi in space. I think that would be the most exciting brand collaboration I can think of. Otherwise, we're just open. We're open to collaborating with anybody with a similar vision who can, you know, where we can support each other and do something interesting.
That's great. So maybe we could ask Desi some few more questions
Please.
that the crowd might be curious of. Hello, Desi. Desi, when can we see you next?
You can catch me anytime. I'm always ready for a new adventure.
That's so sweet. So what are you excited about Istanbul after this event, Desi?
I'm excited to explore a new city and learn about its culture and people.
That's very wonderful. So Desi, what is your message to your fans today?
My message to my fans today is to never stop dreaming and exploring. Life is an adventure. Let's make it a good one.
That's very sweet. Well, Mr. Ditto, thank you very much for having us here. It's been a pleasure for you and Desi and for us to experience this AI in Turkey.
Thank you very much for having us. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to speak to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.